Trieu Duong held his 3-month-old baby, Truc Lam, as he stepped out of the clinic. The doctor had just advised him on the nutritional plan necessary for the baby's healthy growth: green vegetables, carrots, eggs, and other foods rich in vitamin A. He listened intently, noting every word, every piece of advice. In the soft morning light, sunlight streamed through the clinic window, reflecting off the baby's fine hair. Trieu Duong felt a gentle pressure, but also a strong determination. He knew that caring for the baby's nutrition was not just for today, but for the long-term development ahead. At that moment, he pictured a small garden in front of his house, rows of vibrant green vegetables, chickens hopping around the yard, and little Truc Lam playing nearby. All of this filled his heart with warmth and hope. Back at home, Trieu Duong placed Truc Lam into a baby carrier, holding him gently against his chest, then sat at the old wooden table and opened his notebook. He sketched a garden layout, marking the vegetable rows to plant: leafy greens, carrots, water spinach, and a spot for the chicken coop. Every position was carefully considered, ensuring both convenience for care and proper sunlight and ventilation for the plants. Truc Lam occasionally turned his head to look at his father, eyes sparkling as if asking, "What are you doing, Dad?" Trieu Duong smiled and replied softly, "I'm preparing healthy meals for you." He took time to imagine every task: tilling soil, watering, adding compost, harvesting eggs. These images made him feel at peace, as if the garden and his baby were moving in harmony, creating a slow, loving rhythm of life. The next day, Trieu Duong began preparing the soil. He put on gloves, tilled each row carefully, and sprinkled well-fermented organic compost. Truc Lam remained in the carrier, occasionally shifting slightly, eyes wide as he watched birds flying around. The scent of moist earth mixed with compost created a close-to-nature feeling. Trieu Duong worked while silently reminding himself, every small task contributes to his baby's health. He felt the connection between his hands, the soil, the vegetables, and every egg that would nourish Truc Lam. There was no rush, only the slow, steady rhythm of a day in the garden. Morning sunlight filtered through, creating sparkling highlights on the vegetable rows and the baby's hair. After tilling, Trieu Duong began planting vegetables. He carefully placed each leafy green, carrot, and water spinach in the rows, spacing them evenly for optimal growth. Truc Lam occasionally shifted, seemingly observing his father's every move. The gentle sound of water from the watering can and rustling leaves in the breeze created a peaceful morning melody. Trieu Duong spoke softly to his baby. "You'll eat these vegetables to grow strong." He felt the connection between his hands-on work and the love he poured into each plant. Every vegetable carried a piece of a father's care. The surroundings were calm, with only birdsong and the mountain breeze. Everything unfolded slowly and steadily, reflecting the rhythm of life Trieu Duong wanted to create for his child. Next, Trieu Duong prepared the chicken coop. He swept the floor clean, laid fresh straw, and scattered feed for the chickens. The chickens hurried over, clucking loudly. Truc Lam shifted slightly, eyes shining as he watched their movements. Trieu Duong gently collected the eggs, placing them in a woven basket. He reminded himself that these eggs, combined with fresh vegetables, would become nutritious meals for his baby. Every action he took was slow and careful, from tending the chickens and collecting eggs to watching over the child. The peaceful surroundings, coupled with morning sunlight filtering through leaves, created dancing light spots across the yard and the baby's hair. The next morning, Trieu Duong brought the watering can to the garden. Baby Truc Lam remained safely in the front carrier, watching sparkling water droplets fall onto the vegetable rows. He carefully watered each row of greens, carrots, and water spinach, adjusting the flow to avoid disturbing the freshly tilled soil. The surroundings were quiet, with only birdsong and the wind rustling the leaves. Trieu Duong smiled as sunlight reflected off the water droplets, casting shimmering light on the baby's face. He thought to himself, "Every drop of water carries my love for you." The slow, deliberate rhythm of life was full of meaning as his hands connected soil, water, plants, and the baby, creating a perfect circle of care and affection. At noon, Trieu Duong entered the chicken coop, picking up each plump egg. Baby Truc Lam stirred slightly, watching the chickens hop around. He placed the eggs carefully into a woven basket, treating each one with care. The eggs and green vegetables would become nutritious meals for his baby. As he worked, he spoke softly to his child. "You will eat these vegetables and eggs to grow strong." The surroundings were peaceful, with the sound of chickens clucking and the mingling scents of straw and earth. Trieu Duong felt simple happiness, tending the soil, plants, and chickens while nurturing his child with his own hands. Every task gained meaning with Truc Lam by his side. By late afternoon, Trieu Duong tidied the garden, reorganizing the vegetable rows and chicken coop. He picked up dry leaves, re-watered slightly wilted plants, attending to every small detail to keep the garden thriving. Baby Truc Lam remained peaceful in the carrier, occasionally looking around, eyes curious about the scents of the soil and birdsong. Trieu Duong reminded himself that each small task today would help his baby grow strong. The afternoon sun cast warm golden light over the baby's hair and the lush green plants. The surroundings were calm, the gentle sound of water from the watering can blending with natural sounds and his footsteps. Everything moved slowly and steadily, creating a serene rhythm of life for their little family. After finishing all tasks, Trieu Duong stood in the middle of the lush garden, holding baby Truc Lam. The basket of eggs was full, and green vegetables stretched evenly across the rows. He smiled, feeling proud of what he had created, a space that provided nutrition and was filled with love. Truc Lam looked up at his father, eyes sparkling as if sensing the peaceful rhythm around him. Trieu Duong took a deep breath, savoring the scent of soil and plants, the sound of chickens, and the mountain breeze. He thought to himself, "I will grow together with my child in this slow, peaceful rhythm of life." The garden, chickens, and golden afternoon light all blended together, forming a serene and vibrant scene. As the sun began to set, Trieu Duong carried baby Truc Lam to the porch of their wooden house. Golden sunlight bathed the lush vegetable rows and the chicken coop. The evening clucks of chickens and the wind rustling through leaves created a peaceful atmosphere. Trieu Duong looked at his child, smiling with pure happiness. He knew that today's efforts, planting vegetables, raising chickens, caring for every detail, would help Truc Lam grow strong and healthy. Truc Lam stirred slightly, eyes half closed in his father's embrace, seemingly sensing the love surrounding him. Trieu Duong took a deep breath, feeling the slow, serene rhythm of life in the mountains, a rhythm filled with meticulous care and love for his child. The day closed, leaving behind the echoes of affection, nurturing, and hope for the future.
Hello mọi người, hôm nay mình sẽ trình bày câu chuyện về Toàn, một người đàn ông sống với những ký ức đã mất. Khi anh dần dần xây dựng cuộc sống của mình thông qua những công việc thường nhật giản dị và sự chăm sóc thầm lặng của những người xung quanh. Dưới mắt theo dõi của một bà lão, Toàn đã bắt đầu thấy vững vàng trở lại. Dù câu hỏi về quá khứ vẫn tiếp tục làm anh trăn trở, trung tâm của sự bối rối ấy là Tử Diễm, một cô gái trẻ tốt bụng và tận tâm, người mà sự ấm áp gần gũi của cô khơi gợi những tia sáng le lói của những ký ức bị lãng quên. Mặc dù anh không thể nhớ mình đã yêu cô ấy như thế nào, nhưng sự hiện diện của cô mang lại cho sự an ủi, hy vọng và khát khao lớn lao muốn tìm lại cho con người mình trước đây. Qua công việc chung, những cuộc trò chuyện nhẹ nhàng, những khoảnh khắc bình dị tràn đầy ấm áp, Toàn nhận ra rằng sự chữa lành không phải là lúc nào cũng đến từ việc nhớ lại mọi thứ cùng một lúc, mà đến từ việc sống và yêu thương, tin tưởng những người luôn ở bên cạnh anh khi anh thấy lạc lõng nhất.